There's been so much going on inside the CS2 market that we really haven't talked about our Armory recently, and that's because the M4A1S Solitude is officially gone, potentially, in a couple days. It's on its last chance right now. It's the last opportunity. You're gonna have to claim it, and it's actually at a positive ROI right now at 134%, along with nearly everything inside of the Armory if you want to check it out here. This is really what we expected to get back to. As you remember, a lot of these things were barely over 100%. Now we've rebounded. The only things unprofitable by a significant margin are going to be your Sugar Face 2, which are obviously some more stickers that just got added, your Dr. Boom charms, and even the 2025 community sticker collection is still unprofitable. Very interesting that all these new items came in just a little bit at a point now where everyone's redeeming it. Now we're starting to see that ROI creep back up a little bit, but overall the ROIs are really strong in the Sport and Field, which is actually quite surprising, and the Elemental Craft, which is honestly my hands down favorite area to look at inside of this. I would say if you're trying to make an investment, this is the area I'm potentially looking at because these stickers are so in demand, they're so desirable. At the end of the day, these are ones that have been around a while, but they've also been applied a fair amount, which is exactly what we want to see in a situation like this. Skinland is today's sponsor, and they're also sponsoring you with a free $10 on your first trade using code MasterShiny. And the best part is, you're going to be able to cash that out instantly with their brand new system. They've teamed up with Team Vitality to be the best in the game, offering you the lowest prices when you're coming to buy and the highest prices when you're using their instant cash out feature. They've got tons of different payout options when you're looking to sell, and their marketplace is filled with all of the best skins for all of the best prices. It's where I go to do all of my skins related items, and you should too because they've got the best rates out there right now. Now talking about our Covert items, things have started to pull back a pretty significant amount depending on the items that you're specifically looking at. We're finally starting to get to that point of median, especially when we're talking about the knife market and your coverts a little bit as well. Very interesting. Obviously we knew these Covert items were probably going to sustain the majority of this value just because these ROIs on these trade ups were still extremely profitable. They've pulled back maybe 10%, but you gotta remember this is just a very small correction, and honestly it's not even really a correction when this item went up 20 to 30 times depending on the item beforehand. I would say the biggest interest is definitely these knives. If we want to look at them, a fair amount of them have started to pull back a little bit. They shot up in price right away, they lost a little bit of that value, and it seems like they're on a trajectory that's not the most ideal right now, but honestly to be expected. More so, something like this doesn't impact equally all across the board, and it's very important to realize that something like your butterfly knife fades and butterfly knife marble fades, your karambit dopplers, all of these really desirable items are not going to be seeing these same drastic drops as we're seeing for some of these items that are a little bit less desirable, a little bit more in the budget category, and that's exactly what we see here. So a lot of those knives are continuing to go down in price just because they don't have the leverage. Not everyone's interested in buying them, and therefore we're left in a situation where honestly it's really easy to see them decrease in value because the buyers are just not there, and honestly we know there's going to be more supply of them coming in. I would say it's not necessarily a terrible investment if you can get one with a good finish that's desirable, but for the rest of the knife market, definitely a little bit more questionable as we don't know exactly how this is going to look moving forward, as obviously these prices can continue to drop for those knives. They're not going to go down to zero obviously, but they can still go down even further, especially when we don't see any demand like we're seeing right now at this current price level. Now talking about our current case market, this is my favorite area to hive back into. Now if we want to look at it, the majority of these prices are not sitting in anything absolutely astronomical. If we want to look at something like the gallery case, it is still on a decreasing trajectory as it has been over the past week and a half. I'm not necessarily concerned. It's still at $1.50, which is still a pretty strong price point considering this thing was just 80 cents to $1 and then it got removed less than a couple months ago. And if we want to look at the rest of our overall case market, I'm not really concerned about anything we're seeing here. This is a lot of fluctuation in a time like this, and the fact that the majority of these have recovered back to a price point we were sitting before everything really happened is exactly what I want to see. If we want to look at the danger zone case, it's still down maybe 10%, and that honestly for me is a huge buying opportunity because I don't see these cases getting much cheaper from the current prices. The clutch case is another one that's still down around 10 to 15%. I think they're very solid long term, and I think they're in very solid positions. People have definitely differentiated which cases they want to go for now based on the fact that the reds are extremely valuable because they're trading up to those high tier knives. Something like the glove case just got a lot better ROI, and if we want to look at our overall ROIs, they're still sitting relatively similar to what they were pre-update for all of this going on. Some of them are actually a little bit higher now. Unfortunately, the case numbers still to me seem a little bit inflated. Some people don't think that they're actually inflated, which in that case this is amazing, and at the end of the day I honestly think cases are still being a very solid investment long term, and I'm really liking what I'm seeing even during a period like this. We're now getting to that point where Austin Major items are really at their final frontier of them being the latest inside of the game because the Budapest Major is right around the corner. Talking about everything Austin, we have definitely seen these prices fluctuate so much because of these updates, definitely still showing their age. Obviously these are still very new investments. At the end of the day, I think Austin is probably going to end up being relatively solid just because the supply does not seem massive, and it does does seem like it's found its niche area of demand, which is exactly what you want from a sticker market. They're a little bit expensive. I don't know if I'd necessarily invest, but we got the Budapest major coming up right around the corner, and that's the big one we're going to be looking at here. Obviously, we don't know what these stickers are going to look like, but we've got just a couple weeks till this major kicks off, and therefore we're going to be seeing everything for Budapest coming out very soon, and I'm really excited to see what exactly this is going to bring. If we're going to see those souvenir charms again, in which case the market's going to shake up once again. I'm really excited to see what exactly is going to be coming with this major. Talking about things in the realm of the current investments, obviously I want to go back to our character craft stickers because right now I think they're in a very interesting position. The fact is, these have not really blown up like we expected them to, relatively speaking. Obviously they've shot up in price and they've gone relatively stagnant, so it could be a very strong opportunity. If we want to look at our application and demand for these, it definitely shows there is demand for them. They are not the most updated numbers, but I would say this is a very good area considering no more of these can come in. But if we want to look at the prices on them right now, it's relatively stable just because the hype is not necessarily in this area. We've also got some other Armory related charts right here. As you can see, the difference in between all the different prices and the demands and such. I will definitely say the Armory is very interesting, but if we want to look at exactly the graphic collection and the character craft collection, in my personal opinion, it definitely is shown that these are not going to be the most amazing investments. The truth is they're just too widespread, and there definitely is a fair amount of profit to be had. If we want to look at the gallery case, it is shot up in value and it's still at a very significant price point. It's almost 2x what its intrinsic value is, but it's not going to be absolutely crazy when we're talking about the other areas that are less in demand. I think that's exactly what I'm getting from these graphs right here, but that doesn't make them a bad investment by any means. Now talking about our agent market, things have seen relatively similar results to what we're seeing in the overall market inside of this area. If we want to look at the prices, we can see that they have definitely dropped down a little bit from around a month ago. We're still down maybe 20% on average, but if we want to look at these prices, they have recovered a fair amount considering they were down 50 to 60% when we saw that big update come out and everything absolutely drastically changed. For me at this point, I don't think anything too crazy is going to be happening with the agent market. I would love to see some new agents added into the game, and honestly I do think that's on the horizon here, so I would be a little bit careful of that. Now we know old agents and new agents are not the exact same, as they're obviously individual commodities, but it would be very interesting to see what would happen to that market if we do see some new agents come in. Right now though, it seems like we're in a relatively similar to the current market trajectory. Now talking about what exactly to watch right now, active duty cases are definitely one I would have my eyes on. They are fluctuating so much inside this current market. It's definitely something to keep a bit of interest in, especially if you're someone that really likes these as an investment. Overall, definitely going to be keeping an eye on Austin with the Budapest major coming up, as this is going to be the most volatile because of that. But remember, it's going to impact the rest of the sticker market potentially as well. Obviously it is very detrimental or very positive. We don't know, and we haven't seen Budapest yet. Otherwise, I'm definitely watching my rare case market. The gallery case is slipping, and honestly I'm a very big person on the gallery case. I think inside of the current position it's very strong. The rest of your rare case market is going to follow up that as well. Look at your unboxing numbers, look at your data, but that's all I got. Thank you guys so much for watching. Have a great rest of your day.